Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So it's day after Christmas.
Boxing Day.
Boxing Day. And we took the books out of the box and we're going to read them.
It's Canto 3, Chapter 19, Text 25, The Killing of the Demon Hiranyaksha.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Text 25. The demon now began to strike the Lord with his hard fists, but Lord Adhokshaja slapped him in the root of the ear, even as Indra, the Lord of the Maruts, hit the demon Vrita. Purport. The Lord is explained here to be Adhokshaja, beyond the reach of all material calculation. Aksaja means the measurement of our senses, and Adhokshaja means that which is beyond the measurement of our senses.
Any thoughts?
So, Hiranyaksha is trying to mash up the Lord. But it says, Lord Adhokshaja Varahadev countered it by slapping in the root of the ear. That's not very nice if you've ever been hit there. I haven't, mind you, but you know, for sure you'll knock out your hearing, especially if God did it. It'd be quite hard. So that's where we're at in this particular part of the story. There's a bit of fisticuffs.
Fisticuffs, yeah. Smacking each other about, mate.
Mash up.
Okay, text 26. Though struck indifferently by the Lord, the conqueror of all, the demon's body began to wheel. His eyeballs bulged out of their sockets. His arms and legs broken, and the hair on his head scattered. He fell down dead, like a gigantic tree uprooted by the wind. So just, proper TKO right there, just one smack round the ear hole, as they say here in England. And that was it. The demon was out. Purport. It does not take even a moment for the Lord to kill any powerful demon, including Hiranyaksha. The Lord could have killed him long before, but he allowed the demon to display the full extent of his magical feats. One may know that by magical feats, by scientific advancement of knowledge, or by material power, one cannot become the equal of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. His one signal is sufficient to destroy all our attempts. His inconceivable power, as displayed here, is so strong that the demon, despite all his demoniac maneuvers, was killed by the Lord when the Lord desired, simply by one slap. Psh. Slap around the ear hole. Interesting. Well, there you go. The potency of the Lord.
Text 27. Aja, Brahma, and others arrived on the spot to see the fearfully tusked demon lying on the ground, biting his lip. The glow of his face was yet unfaded, and Brahma admiringly said, "Oh, who could meet such blessed death?"
So again, it mentions that Hiranyaksha had tusks. So when we hear that, we might be thinking it's referring to Varahadev. But it says, see the fearfully tusked demon lying on the ground. It mentioned that before, that he had like some sort of tusks. So just an interesting fact. You don't often see him depicted like that. At least I don't think so. Does it look like he has tusks? It does, doesn't it?
Where?
I don't know. I can't see.
No, he's got funny teeth though. See?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's like depicted with sharp kind of
Teeth.
canines, but anyway, and Lord Brahma is admiring the fact that that's the way that he died.
Purport. Although the demon was dead, his bodily luster was unfaded. This is very peculiar because when a man or animal is dead, the body immediately becomes pale, the luster gradually fades and decomposition takes place. But here, although Hiranyakashipu lay dead...
Hiranyaksha.
Oh, Hiranyaksha lay dead. His bodily luster was unfaded because the Lord, the Supreme Spirit, was touching his body. One's bodily luster remains fresh only as long as the spirit soul is present. Although the demon's soul had departed his body, the Supreme Spirit touched the body, and therefore his bodily luster did not fade. The individual soul is different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One who sees the Supreme Personality of Godhead when he quits his body is certainly very fortunate. And therefore, personalities like Brahma and the other demigods eulogize the death of the demon. So in the end, they glorified him. They were complaining about him and how awful he was and what he was doing. But in the end, it shows a higher character, because in this so-called demon or bad person, they could see the good. Actually, how fortunate you are that you were touched by the hand of the Lord and you died such a glorious death. Because they could have just kicked him in the face or something, or in the tummy, and said, "Good, you're dead."
Yeah, so, I mean, of course, the demigods, they understand that as is mentioned here, that anyone who dies at the hands of the Lord, or remembering the Lord, anyone who remembers the Lord at the time of death, then that state he'll achieve. So what to speak of if one is actually killed by the hands of the Lord? So then they're thinking, wow, that's so fortunate, you know. Of course, we might not think like that, but they did. Text 28. Brahma continued. He was struck by a 4 foot of the Lord, whom yogis seeking freedom from their unreal material bodies meditate upon in seclusion and mystic trance. While gazing on his countenance, isn't that the word again, countenance? Which, by the way, we did get an answer for both those words, countenance and...
Rampacious.
What is it?
Rampacious.
Rampacious, yeah. So thank you very much. Was this? I thought it was Gopi, Sridevi Gopi.
Online on the comments on the Facebook page, Sally Webb, or my personal one, Sridevi.
Okay.
But
So we got answers from both people. So
yeah.
Thank you. So his countenance, this crest jewel of Diti's sons, has cast off his mortal coil. Purport. The process of yoga is very clearly described in this verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. It is said here that the ultimate end of the yogis and mystics who perform meditation is to get rid of this material body. Therefore, they meditate in secluded places to attain yogic trance. Yoga has to be performed in a secluded place, not in public or in a demonstration on stage, as nowadays practiced by many so-called yogis. Real yoga aims at ridding one of the material body. Yoga practice is not intended to keep the body fit and young. Such advertisements of so-called yoga are not approved by any standard method. Particularly mentioned in this verse is the word yam, or unto whom, indicating that meditation should be targeted on the personality of Godhead. Even if one concentrates his mind on the Boar form of the Lord, that is also yoga. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, one who concentrates his mind constantly in meditation upon the personality of Godhead is in one of his many varieties of forms is a first-class yogi. Yoginam api sarvesham matgatenan taratmanaha. And he can very easily attain trance simply by meditating upon the form of the Lord. If one is able to continue such meditation on the Lord's form at the time of one's death, one is liberated from this mortal body and is transferred to the kingdom of God. This opportunity was given to the demon by the Lord, and therefore Brahma and other demigods were astonished. In other words, the perfection of yoga practice can be attained by a demon also if he is simply kicked by the Lord. Interesting point. So yeah, yoga is kind of non-sectarian. Works for anybody, no matter whether you're a demon or a devotee or whatever. If you can remember the Lord at the time of death, then you get the same benefit. Of course, Prabhupada says here you have to be kicked by the Lord. So we have to say which we get.
Okay, text 29. These two personal assistants of the Supreme Lord, having been cursed, have been destined to take birth in demoniac families. After a few such births, they will return to their own positions. Text 30. The demigods address the Lord. All obeisance is unto you. You are the enjoyer of all sacrifices, and you have assumed the form of a bull in pure goodness for the purpose of maintaining the world. Fortunately for us, this demon, who was a torment to the worlds, has been slain by you, and we too, O Lord, are now at ease in devotion to your lotus feet. Purport. The material world consists of three modes, goodness, passion, and ignorance. But the spiritual world is pure goodness. It is said here that the form of the Lord is pure goodness, which means that it is not material. In the material world, there is no pure goodness. In the Bhagavatam, the stage of pure goodness is called Sattvam Vishuddham. Vishuddham means pure. In pure goodness, there is no contamination by the two inferior qualities, namely passion and ignorance. The form of the bull, therefore, in which the Lord appeared, is nothing of the material world. There are many other forms of the Lord, but none of them belong to the material qualities. Such forms are non-different from the Vishnu form, and Vishnu is the enjoyer of all sacrifices.
Any thoughts just on the purport so far?
Oh, it's a cute picture of the bull.
Yeah, just have to remember Lord Boar so you can meditate on him. I think it's interesting. It says, he came as a boar, but in pure goodness means there's not any material contamination. So whatever form the Lord takes will be all attractive. So even if he had a grasshopper incarnation or a cockroach incarnation, it would still be the cutest cockroach or grasshopper or whatever. But it's true, he's all attractive. Or he's also all fearful. So, for those who are looking at him like that, I think it was when Krishna entered the
Kamsa's arena.
Yeah, the arena to fight Kamsa, wrestling arena. Then everyone was looking at him differently. And for Kamsa, he was death personified. But for others, he was their loving son. And so everyone sees him in that unique way. The sacrifices, so purport continues and concludes, the sacrifices which are recommended in the Vedas are meant to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In ignorance only, people try to satisfy many other agents. But the real purpose of life is to satisfy the Supreme Lord Vishnu. All sacrifices are meant to please the Supreme Lord. The living entities who know this perfectly well are called demigods. godly, or almost God. Since the living entity is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, it is his duty to serve the Lord and please him. The demigods are all attached to the personality of Godhead, and for their pleasure the demon who was a source of trouble to the world was killed. Purified life is meant to please the Lord, and all sacrifices performed in purified life are called Krishna consciousness. This Krishna consciousness is developed by devotional service, as clearly mentioned here. And it just reminds me of a very good friend of mine. Recently, he just sent me a PDF of a book called Purpose-Driven Life. I think the subtitle is kind of like, what are we doing here? What is our purpose for being here? So it's interesting because it's written by a man who's very religious or spiritual. He's Christian, but he starts the whole point with that we have to remember and understand that God created everything, so therefore He created us. So He created us, and we're kind of God's creation. So it's difficult for us to know what is the purpose of a creation. If someone invents something, or then they usually have to tell you how to work the machinery. It's not that you get the machinery and just kind of figure it out. Maybe they've invented it so well you can almost figure it out. But ultimately the purpose of the thing that's created is only known by the Creator. So it's an interesting first premise. And just reading through this, Prabhupada is mentioning that purified life is meant to please the Lord. So ultimately we all have been given this life by Krishna, by God, and really it behooves us to completely engage this life and dedicate it to serving God. And one way you can serve God is by hearing and chanting about Him, right?
Yeah.
In His form as a cute little boar. Anyway, that was just a thought, sorry. Any thoughts from your side?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Should we finish there? Next purport is a little bit longer.
Okay.
So we'll conclude there. And we're quickly coming to the end of this chapter also.
Mm-hmm.
And we're also quickly coming to the end of another year.
Yeah.
Amazingly enough. As 2021 is concluding, 2022 will soon be starting. And we'll continue reading Srimad Bhagavatam. And just a reminder, in case you didn't catch it last time, there is now a YouTube channel.
Yes, the name of it is going across the screen right now. See?
Oh, okay. There we
like
go.
That.
We might have to put it as a standard part of the beginning of the opening edits or something. Anyway, we'll discuss that later. I'll take my orders later. Thank you all very much. Please read Srimad Bhagavatam in your time off the holidays. Sit by a warm fire and hear the nectarian pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Go Premanandi Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.